Hey guys, welcome to Toy Chat. This is Max.
Autumn.
And Say.
And today, by popular demand, we are going to be giving you guys a spoiler review of the Welcome to Monster High movie. So, disclaimer, full spoilers are to follow for the Welcome to Monster High movie.
So we will be talking about the plot and all the new characters, things that, you don't get to hear about from Monster High unless you see the movie. So
yes, so we did already post a spoiler-free review of the Welcome to Monster High movie. If you'd like to check that out, the link will be in the description. And also head there if you want more of, a plot summary of the movie, because in this one we're just going to dive right into key plot points. And we're going to go through a list of different key points from the movie that we're going to discuss. And I'll include timestamps for you guys, so if you want to skip ahead to a specific topic, you can do so. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the new backstories. So pretty much every ghoul in the movie, I could be wrong, but it seems like there's new origin stories for a lot of the characters. Some of them I think are probably similar to the original, because I know in the original canon, they started where, the ghouls were all already enrolled at Monster High, and Frankie was presented, of course, as the new girl. So first of all, we'll start with that. We'll start with Frankie. I feel like out of all the characters they introduced, Frankie was maybe the only one who we didn't really get a backstory for her.
She just showed up out of nowhere.
She was just in that building, which I assume was the laboratory.
Well, she said she was chased out of wherever she's from, and she was hiding in the power plant.
You guys have seen probably in the clips too, where she's just like, I'm Frankie, in the Great Monster Fright Flight, my father and I went into hiding, and da-da-da. I wish there was something along the lines of...
And her dad just abandoned her.
I was gonna say, was she by herself?
Also, wasn't this fight thousands of years ago? Which I doubt she's even that old.
I think enough time has passed where humans do not know about monsters.
Probably a lot of time has passed, long story short, but yeah, Frankie's portion was odd. I was more or less content with Dracula's backstory, but I think she got the most screen time out of all the characters. So I think there was way more time to focus on
her. The backstory doesn't make any sense either, though. How is it that her and her dad have just been alone together in one castle for 1,600 years, at least? Yeah. And she's just content with that. She's like, Dad, I'm ready to go outside, After the first, 1,500 years, I understand that I can't be independent, but now it's like, I'm ready. Like, what? What? I know she's always been a kind of campy character that didn't take her age that seriously, but she had no earthly experience, no thoughts of her own. It was just...
Yeah, I think that's the whole thing that Monster High's been pushing for a while now, though, is that 1,600 is the vampire equivalent of 16 as a unit. That's I think what they've been pushing for a while now. I think the whole issue with Claudine's backstory, I was, the fact that they kind of just found her in the woods, pretty much, in
a burrow.
Yeah, in a burrow. She, I thought her wolf form was pretty cool. The brothers are cute, but they tie into a missing character issue that we'll get into a little bit later. I don't know, and then Cleo's backstory. I feel like it was more or less, I'm under the impression it's the same, or very similar to what it was.
Minus the fact that, they never mentioned her dad or Nephra. She was just chilling there by herself.
And Laguna, hers was probably, aside from Frankie, her backstory was probably the most rushed. It's she was kind of just surfing and found her, and there she was.
The first second she saw them, she gave them a hug like they were old-time friends.
Yeah, one thing you have to keep in mind though is the fact that they had to work with a 70-minute screen time, and maybe this factors into the Ghoulia issue, is 6 characters.
I'll bring it up.
We won't get into that, but it's even 5 central characters that can be a lot to focus on in 70 minutes.
You know what, Ghoulia? She could just sat there in the back and go,
That's true.
I'm just here for the ride.
Just here for our paycheck.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll move on to the next topic, which is the origin of Monster High. So what I thought was really interesting about this, and I was kind of iffy about it at first, is the fact that this canon basically presents a scenario where the ghouls, like the central characters, are responsible for basically like building Monster High, which I think is it's an interesting concept, but it's a little...
Well, not even, because when they were building school, it was just Draculaura and her dad, and
it's their house.
And then the Wolf family. That's pretty much the people. And Frankie. So you got 3 teenagers and a bunch of toddlers and 2 parents building pretty much
a whole school.
It's not really realistic, you know. It's like,
I feel like a lot of modern...
Who has the permits and the knowledge?
They're just like, let's just build a gigantic secret mansion school like in the middle of nowhere. I feel like though it falls in line with a lot of modern movies, especially the ones aimed at kind of younger people, like where they want to, you know, stories that are more whimsical in nature, or stories that are tied more into realism. Like they want to scrap that in favor of like the main characters kind of asserting themselves as like, we are like, you know, like these huge heroes who are responsible for, you know, achieving this huge thing, you know. And I think, I mean, it's an interesting concept, the fact that they kind of built it from the ground up, but in some ways, I kind of preferred the canon of, you know, it's more just they were these young monsters coming into, you know, an actual
place of education
where that was already run by older monsters, like just the headless headmistress. And
well, when you think of the whole backstory where monsters have lived in isolation and fear of humans for some godforsaken reason, and in doing so they isolated from each other even. So like they staged their own little mini clans everywhere. It's like, it's kind of cool. It's like revolutionary even in their universe anyway, that a few teenagers would band together and like, yeah, let's have a place where we can just be ourselves and hang out. So I liked the mood of that. It was rushed and whatever, but I mean, the whole series is just about them hanging out at high school, so just get that over with, whatever.
Yeah. The problem of them establishing that fact that you know, the core cast built Monster High, in the future films they can't really use that as a plot point where like, oh, there's this secret area of Monster High that they don't know about, because again, you know, they probably know about a lot about the school already. So maybe in future films they're kind of forced to explore territories outside of Monster High.
It's going to be really interesting seeing how much of a reboot they really want this to be. Like if they're basically going to act like all the previous events of, you know, the original webisodes basically didn't happen. So if this is, you know, like a heavy duty reboot, I have no idea, you know. I guess we'll find out in the days to come. So the next topic, we don't have to spend a ton of time on this one, but is the monster parents. So we get to meet 2 of the central characters' parents in this movie, which to my knowledge, I may be wrong, but I don't think in the older webisodes you really meet like the main girl's parents, which it feels like in general they're focusing on parents like more, because they started introducing like Ever After High parents like recently too, which I'm down for that. I actually frankly I wouldn't mind having like dolls of like actual, you know, like the original, you know, monster, the original fairy tale. I think that would be cool. But so in this movie we meet both Dracula and the werewolf, or, you know, Claudine's mother.
Which is her actual name in the credits. Claudine's mom. Which shows how essential a character she is. Honestly, parent inclusion's cool, fine, dandy, whatever. It probably would be interesting to build up on. I just think it was a complete waste of time in this film.
I think in terms of Draculaura's new origin story, I mean, me personally, I liked Dracula. I wouldn't mind having a doll of Dracula. I thought his outfit was kind of cool. His personality was kind of campy and over the top, you know, but, you know, I think by the Monster High show standards, you know, I think Dracula was, you know, I mean, obviously I think if you're expecting like a classic horror Dracula, you're gonna be disappointed.
He was like the worst character.
Really? Why? Why did you think that?
Because they introduced all these side characters to be the comedic relief, right? And like where the girls are just the plot elements and they're just there to be cute and whatever. I think they should have made one of the girls funny, like how Abby used to be or whoever. And it's just like, I don't care about you. This is a new face in this cast I already knew, and it's just like, you aren't the focus of the story anyway, so like, why are you taking up so much of my time? It's just like, they didn't put that much effort into them. The mom did nothing.
Yeah, they're a plot device, and honestly,
Barely.
the whole fact that she was kind of like, there was kind of a little love interest, little thing going on between them two was...
Do you want to go in the back and we'll make more punch? Or something like that at the end of the dance scene.
I love some of your punch.
I think that's not really needed, especially if you consider...
that was tacky. Yeah, I wasn't
if you
into
consider
that.
pretty much, if that's where they're going, they're pretty much eliminating Claude and Draculaura.
And I'm wondering if they kind of want Claude and Draculaura to not exist. Because now that Draculaura is like the central character, like, I'm wondering if they want her to stay pure and like...
Yeah. Keep our options open, you know? A love interest prep.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the parents, I'm gonna make it quick, but yeah, I mean, like, I appreciated Dracula, but more so just because I feel like he functioned how he was supposed to. I feel like he was a little bit too campy at certain points. I wish they'd, made him a little bit more, I don't know, like world weary or spooky as much as they could for a kids movie, but
there's just no respect for the character, to be honest.
Yeah, I think with the very, very like dark, gory actual origins of some of these, the lore of the actual monsters, though, it's hard for them to interpret that like accurately, like in the Monster High universe. But and the mom, Claudine's mom, did nothing for me at all. She was hardcore like soccer mom.
Yeah,
she had like 2 lines.
Yeah, she was very stereotypical. I wasn't into it. I would have rather seen her father, because I thought if it was supposed to be like the werewolf, I thought like, I don't know.
There was a scene where she was teaching the art class and she comes over to Claudine's thing. It's like, Claudine, this is art class, not a fashion show.
I was like, I know, that was really, that was...
Can't swear, but...
Don't.
And then Claudine's like, Mom, fashion is art. And I'm like, you go, girl.
Yes.
Because what the hell?
They kept that the same. Claudine's still like a fashion designer.
No, that's cool, but like, why would you put down your kid like that?
Yeah, not only your student, but your kid.
Trying to give her mommy issues in this one, but I liked that scene though. That scene was funny. I liked how the skeleton like dropped his hat. I thought that was funny. So the next topic is special abilities. So I actually appreciated this. I thought it was cool that they gave each of the characters like these special, I thought some of them weren't appropriate, but I feel like it was cool that we got to see more of like Draculaura turning into a bat, and like Laguna's super speed didn't make sense. That was random. But.
I was so into it though. That was the point for me where the movie just skyrocketed 50% more enjoyable, because like
Marvel superheroes!
It was Mattel's The Avengers. I loved it.
No, I was into it. It was cool.
Yeah, Draculaura's ability is really cute and, gives her some new freedom.
I want a toy Bat Draculaura so bad.
I was thinking, when I saw her first transform, I was like, why isn't there a toy of this?
I know, she's
so
cute.
Yeah.
So cute. They have to Mattel make a toy. Yeah.
But then it makes it really weird that her pet is a bat.
Yeah. I feel like it would have to be a totally separate like release
of
like just her as a bat or her.
I mean, it's the new canon.
Yeah, but I liked Cleo being able to like use her raps. That was pretty cool. Frankie, electricity.
Yeah.
I found it enjoyable that they were capable of something more than just dressing cutely. So,
yeah.
I hope they keep running with that. Yeah, I mean that even opens doors for them to do stuff in like Monster High video games.
They should make another Power Goals line.
Oh yeah.
So that was pretty cool. Yeah, that I was into. Okay, so the next topic is the returning rebooted characters. So I feel like, I don't know if we necessarily have to talk about the main, central ghouls, but there are other returning characters, which it was a very random bunch. Yeah,
Venus, Twyla, Deuce,
and Toralei.
And Toralei, kind of.
Is that everything? Is that everyone?
And Abby. If you.
Okay.
we can talk about that.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't consider that a character replacement because there has been an Abby doll. Yeah. So Abby's still in so I don't think they've.
I think it's very interesting that they're wearing the original outfits. I think it's almost like tacked on to the movie rather than something that they talked among the Monster High brand, like, okay, so we're bringing these characters back, so we need concept art and design for the rebooted dolls.
Yeah, they're not rebooted.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh gosh, we don't have enough time to design all these new background characters. Let's just shove these in.
Well, you know what's funny? I mean, something Sang and I kind of talked about in the non-spoiler review is that we kind of appreciated the fact that they added more like creature-like monsters instead of only humanoid monsters. Mm-hmm. But it's so odd to me that they kind of cherry-picked these random, like I love Twyla, but like choosing Twyla like out of the whole Monster High cast, like in a big reboot movie, like having her as one of like the returning, rebooted characters was.
You didn't really utilize her at all.
She didn't have a single line.
Yeah. I mean, she had a moment where like she stepped out of the shadow.
Yeah.
Which I mean, it makes sense. It's Twyla, but again, she didn't really have a point in the movie. And it's nice. I mean, it's nice to see her in the background, but again, Twyla's. Where's her best friend?
Where are Twyla's fights with Cleo if they're gonna include her? Like she was just there. She was a total backgrounder. I feel like actually out of all the returning characters, Twyla was most in the background.
She did have a moment with
Monica.
She who must not be named.
We'll get to her. They're wearing their same outfits. There's like very, very slight variances on certain details, but there's actually a rumor that the reboot Twyla and Venus that are coming out, it's going to be rebooted molds in the same original clothing.
So lazy.
Not into that, but yeah. Okay, so this might be the most time-consuming topic, but we'll try to somewhat condense it. But so we're going to talk about the missing characters. So
well, let's get
in order from least painful to most.
Jumping right into it, we're missing like other side characters. Like, I mean, Abby. We have seen a doll version of Abby, and she's in the Dance the Fright Away outfit, which they didn't even include that at all. Like, Juice got an outfit, and Monica, but they just wore their normal outfits in the film. It's kind of like it's like an afterthought, like these dolls.
I mean, there's obviously a lot of people that are missing. I would say we should focus on the people who are for sure missing. Like they feel replaced.
Well, I'm just saying Abby. There's
Abby. She's not in the movie. There's this.
But Abby has a doll, so you're like pretty confident like she's gonna.
There's a Yeti-like creature that was eerily similar to Abby. If we're talking about glaring, glaring absences, one of my first thoughts is. I really want to say Claude, for one, because the origin of Claudine happens in this movie, and we don't see Claude. Claude is Dracula's boyfriend, and this movie had such a lack of male characters in general. Like, of the Mansters, we see Deuce, and we see Wraith, who, I feel like he was at some point, like they mentioned him in the previous canon, but he's totally new.
He's just an invisibility clone.
Yeah, he's...
even the long line of like werewolves, Claudine has a little sister,
and Howleen's not there. Yeah.
Claude and Howleen feel very replaced because, like I think Sang mentioned before, there's that whole new subplot with Claudine's mom and Dracula's dad, and so I feel like they're getting rid of that relationship dynamic.
Which that makes me really angry.
So goodbye Claude, probably. And then the 12 little brothers, like I said when I watched the movie, Mattel, it's quality, not quantity. Why do we have 12 clone annoying little puppies if they're not even that cute? I kind of thought that Claudine's werewolf version was cuter than
that. Their puppy form is cute, but the boys themselves, I was like, eh.
So it's like, why do we have all these little brats and no Howleen?
Yeah.
And I always liked her character.
Yeah, that's actually more of an alarming exclusion for me than I let on, because Claude is probably like my favorite Manster. So that bothers me if he's like, and I really liked his relationship with Dracula too. I think it was very cute to have like a tiny little like short vampire girl dating a big hulking like werewolf dude. So not down for that. So I hope he's not permanently missing. As you can probably guess, Spectra Vondergeist is not in this movie at all. She's not referenced to, nothing. So Obviously, Ari Huntington is in this movie, and there's all the connotations that come with that. Honestly, I love you, Monster High, and I understand all the assertions were made, like we're not intending to replace any characters. I feel like, I don't want to talk yet about her character individually, but I do feel like Ari Huntington is introduced and positioned as a Spectra replacement. So I'm very concerned that Spectra is indeed gone. Maybe she'll come back as like a backgrounder, something, technically even in the previous Monster High canon there were multiple ghost characters, so maybe they'll keep running with that. But
there's a possibility.
I hope.
But who feels really gone?
Who feels really gone?
Whose presence feels missing in this room right now? Miss Ghoulia Yelps. Replaced by that. So hard not to swear. Replaced by this travesty of a character, Monica Decay. I was just so disappointed on so many levels because it's just glaringly obvious to me that Ghoulia is not there because she's in the original 6 original ghouls. And Max mentioned earlier, like, it's hard to focus on so many characters at once, but hey, that's the series you created, you guys, and it's like, well, just kick out that dumb girl who can't talk,
I think also the problem is like, the whole point of these films and these web episodes is to sell more product, but why are you excluding more merchandise when you have these established characters?
This definitely could be, and I'm sure Autumn agrees with me, this could be its own video, in part because there's something very odd about like what seems to be the intentional exclusion of Ghoulia. If you go to the Monster High website, her bio and everything is still there, but there's so many products that are coming out, especially like the Monster High Funko Pop figures were announced recently, and they have the original
ghouls.
5 and then Skeletita. So I really think something's going on. Like I think they are excluding Ghoulia for like a reason.
She's not in the Monster High minis.
Yeah, she's not in the minis. What doesn't make sense is like it would have been less unsettling if this movie didn't include Laguna. Like if they wanted to just use this movie to focus on because ultimately like originally I feel like the core 4 were like Dracula, Claudine, Cleo, and Frankie. So, it would be like, okay, I guess that's what they're trying to do, but the fact that they include Laguna and they only don't include Ghoulia, it's odd. It's bizarre. It does make you feel like they're trying to phase out the character.
Honestly, it comes down to marketing. Like I feel like as Ghoulia and Spectra are very gaudy and humanoid, like too much like monster-like, like creepy monster that they
I don't accept these reasons.
That they're trying to aim for. Again, as we've seen with the reboot, they're more geared toward cutesy, more bubbly looks, and maybe they're having trouble, coming up with a proper design for these two characters.
It's really funny though. If the whole issue is that, parents were offended by like the original Monster High sense of style and like I guess the fishnets and the edgier fashion, Ghoulia had probably some of the tamest fashions of the original ghouls.
She had that 50s things going on. Everything was covered.
Yeah, so
no bellies.
I do think, and we've mentioned this in previous videos, but I do really think that if you think in your head like who the spookiest, kind of creepiest, Monster High characters are, you'd probably narrow it down to Ghoulia and or Spectra. And it's just because of just the gore and the heavy kind of that comes with zombies. And in terms of Spectra, she just has that sunken in gaunt face that is very creepy, and so I think unless which I mentioned off camera, unless there's some kind of legal issue with Ghoulia, I don't see the excuse because there's perfectly happy ways to make them into cute characters. That's true. You could reboot Ghoulia. You could easily reboot Ghoulia.
It's so easy.
And zombies are so in general.
Monster High said they have special things down the line for these two characters. So.
Oh, they said it for those specific two characters?
Yeah.
Okay. Where's that?
That's news to me.
I haven't heard that.
Oh, well.
Like specifically?
Yeah, like don't worry, we have special plans for Ghoulia.
Well, they better be pretty
Okay,
special.
fact check that in the comments.
Let us know. Send me a link. I don't know about this.
Yeah.
Because it's been stressing me out. It's making me not want to collect Monster High stuff anymore. Because I'm honestly just so upset. With the original 6, all of them besides Ghoulia, they feel kind of very cliquey, like similar, like, hey, we all like to cheerlead, we're all peppy, whatever. I feel like Ghoulia was the most different in a way. Like, Cleo had her sass, and that made her kind of different. But Ghoulia was like, kind of the nerdy one, kind of quiet, she couldn't talk. And I enjoyed that aspect of her character. It made her really unique. Like, how many main characters do you ever get that can't talk?
I think it's good in general to have like a main character who's shy, because the other girls are, presented as, they're so, like, hey guys, and like Autumn said, like, let's all be friends right away. It's like, I think, it would be nice to have more of a representation for, like a shy, kind of withdrawn character. So we could go on about that forever, but moving on, this kind of segues into the next topic though, which is Monica Decay. So she is, of course, the main villain in this movie. Autumn has a lot to say, I'm sure, but my 2 cents real quick is just, while personally I do feel like as a whole, I think her aesthetic and her doll and everything really is, it's just, I'm not you guys know if you watched the review, like, I'm not really a huge fan of the Monica Decay doll or her design. I do think she is very knockoffy of Ghoulia. That being said, I think in this movie, if I look at her purely as just like a villain, personally, I think she was a pretty effective villain. She had very, malicious intention, and I like that they have someone in the Monster High universe who, I wish it were someone else in a different scenario, a different monster, but I like that they have someone in the Monster High universe who is very, kind of cruel and malicious when it comes to like what the relationship with humans should be like, and it's like, no, we should just eliminate the humans and they should be scared of us. And I actually think, for those of you who are like afraid that the reboot wouldn't be spooky enough or would, whatever, I actually think Monica's scenes, especially when you first meet the Zomboys and everything, were probably some of the creepiest parts of the movie. So I appreciated that they had some, obviously they had the campy moments later.
I was like, this is Walking Dead meets Monster High. I'm all into it.
No, I was into it. Yeah, I liked how creepy the zombie boys were. It was like, which that though, it contradicts the whole Ghoulia thing. It's like if you're getting rid of Ghoulia and Spectra because they're creepy, and then you make Monica super
Well, I guess we're just inferring too much. We don't know. We're just making wild speculations. It just feels that way because she's so active, not just in this movie, but everywhere. It's led us to feel and suppose these things.
So your thoughts on Monica Decay?
I might be unfairly biased against her because of how I feel she's slated to replace Ghoulia. If I take that out of the equation, I do kind of enjoy her character. Like, I hated on her doll for reasons mentioned before and all that. What I don't like is how her and the Zomboys messed with the zombie lore of Monster High. I get it, you have to have a main villain who can talk, I guess. So even the Zomboys, like, they bothered me because, like, when they were rallying for Monica being, like, the class body president, they were all slow at first, but then just started breakdancing for her, and it was just weird, like...
That's what's funny, they presented them initially as, like, really nasty, creepy, kind of zombies, and I really appreciated that scene. But then like later in the movie, they're like drinking Starbucks with the students. In some ways I didn't mind that though. It was like whatever, okay.
Those are Matt's favorite characters.
I like the Zomboys. But what's interesting about Monica too is in the ending they hardcore like she's gonna come back. She said, I don't remember exactly what she said, but she said I was still like she basically like retreated to the shadows pretty much, and she was like, I'll be back, pretty much along those lines.
There's like a war in my heart, so it's really hard for me to give a concrete like how I feel about her. But I will say she was probably in all my favorite scenes. I think she like made things interesting. So
I think she. I like the doll. I like her face. But Monica as a character in the movie, I thought it was weird. Like. Seeing her intentions, but she's probably one of the most like maliciously like evil characters.
Yeah, they haven't had someone like that.
I
'Cause even
almost might,
Twilight
I might want to
did
go as
that.
far as to say, like, in terms of her intent and how she acts, like, she's maybe the best Monster High villain.
Yeah.
Because I really like that she's pretty much evil. Like, I was thinking too, like, at the end, she'd like, I'm good now. Like, and that wasn't, like, that didn't happen. She was totally like...
Yeah, they kept her pretty bad.
Which that's rare for, like, kids films and that kind of thing.
Yeah, she wasn't being, like, nasty for sake of being, like, catty. She's actually had a motive, and she had a means to do it, too, so...
It was kind of a weird platform for her plans of world destruction.
I'm gonna run for student council and then I'll take over the world.
I just thought it was so funny when Frankie and Dracula are running for class president, and Dracula's like, do you think we will win? And she's like, and Frankie's like, well, we are running unopposed. And I'm like, are you that stupid? You're the founders.
She's only 1,600 years old, Autumn.
I know, these things are hard to process, right?
Yeah.
I just can't get past the 1,600-year thing. She should be way more intelligent. I'm sorry. And independent. It's just like, ugh. But anyway, it's like,
But that's just something that's normal with Dracula. She's always been kind of dumb.
Which I granted though, if they're gonna do that, I'm like, okay, boo-boos, make it 160. Like, make it more feasible. Not like they've been around for over 1,000 years and they're still like, like, you know.
Yeah, 1,600 years, and she didn't know that she was using the normie internet.
I know. That, first of all, Frankie, especially considering, isn't Frankie in the original like canon? She's supposed to be less than a year old. She's supposed to be like, she's like a week old because she was made. Yeah, so it's like, and of course she's like, what are you doing? Like, it's like 1,600-year-old.
Yeah, this canon, Frankie's a lot older.
So yeah, so the next topic is Ari Huntington, also known as Tash, in her human
I
form.
kind of hated her, to be honest with you. I think she was kind of like a weird, catty, like, she was pretty bland. I mean, she's the stereotypical.
She was pretty.
Oh yeah, she was pretty. But
Oh yeah, the whole time I was thinking, they should make a doll of her.
Yeah.
Back when she was Tash.
yeah, Tash, I mean,
Tash doll, so down for a Tash doll.
She just lacks personality. I think that's my big concern. She only had a couple of scenes, and you know, she didn't even seem very genuine when she was like when the scene when like Dracula like first met her, like, oh, you're a monster, get away.
Yeah, no, I didn't. That
Get
scene,
off of me,
that
you
scene
monsters.
bothered me because when they revealed, unsurprisingly, at least to Sang and I, that Tash was Ari Huntington. I was like, that scene bothered me, like when Dracula like confronted her on her tour bus, because it's like, okay, you're acting like a self-loathing monster that you're like, oh, it's a monster, and she like tells the people on her bus like, there's a monster. I'm like, crazy girl, like, you're perpetuating hate against your kind, like, by having that reaction.
Yeah.
So that, like...
Self-loathing in that situation. I mean, I guess they just have to move the plot forward, so that's what they did. But, and then she just came to school, she just randomly drove by the school and got kidnapped.
There's already a lot of, like, singer characters at Monster High. Like, they didn't need to randomly add another one and basically, you know, assert her as like a Spectra replacement. You know, so Ari didn't do a lot for me. I mean, I like her look in the movie. You know, I wish it were more accurate, like those big like ringlet curls and like, especially, like I said, a Tash doll would be amazing. But yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting concept, the fact that she can change forms and change her appearance. She's like Mystique. Apparently she like created that dress for herself.
They should do a SDCC exclusive of Tash.
Yeah.
Should their first human doll, other than I guess Rebecca's dad, but is he fully human? He's like, yeah, but
He's like half cyborg.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she was pretty, but again, she didn't provide anything more than just like eye candy and a plot device.
So yeah. Final confrontation with Monica.
Absolute favorite scene for sure.
Yes. So what was really cool about the ending scene was like Sang and I were talking about how, you know, we were like, oh my gosh, like, are they gonna like, is this gonna happen? Like, I thought they had an opportunity to do something really dark and freaky. Like, I thought I was like, oh my gosh, like, is Monica going to kill Tash and she's gonna become Ari Huntington? Like, you know, I was like, I don't think they'd go there, but that's crazy.
That would have been amazing. But parents would be so mad.
I know. And I feel like though that would be a much more like traumatic scene for Tash's character. She's like, I'm dead, and they're all like, it's okay. Yeah, so that might have been too much for them, but it was still a very dark scene. Like she was gonna turn Tash, so I think that was crazy, and that was even the original.
Her claw slashes were very intimidating.
Yeah.
I loved it though. It was so Captain America.
Oh, Civil War.
It was so Civil War.
It's like a battle scene.
Like there was the scene where they were like two lines of people facing each other and they just start running, and it was really intense, and I just laughed so hard when Draculaura like pushes Monica off the stage and she's just like no. She was like 4 feet to her death.
That scene, honestly, I don't know like what the intention was, if it was supposed to be ridiculous but it was so funny.
So
It was like
I was like, no, she's falling into a pile of chairs. She's done.
It was so funny. I really love that. I remember when we watched it in the theater and we were like, she's gonna be fine. It was super like slow motion, like villain is dying.
And then Dracula is like, I guess that's done with. But then she just gets back up and like attacks them again. Like, I loved it. Like the whole thing, funny, everyone, the way that they fought and retaliated, the humor was on point without being too like cheesy. So it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It made it worth it, I think. Yeah.
I just like how the parents are just like not doing about this little fight. They're not breaking them about breaking.
They went there and they did nothing.
The lunch lady did something.
No, you know why? You know why they were gone making punch.
Yeah, they're. I thought all the fight scenes were really cool. Besides the final fight, the whole scene when they first saw Monica, and like the whole Cleo scene where she's just waiting for them to attack her and she's like chilling on the tombstone. And that was really funny. It really shows Cleo's personality.
Yeah, definitely. Which we can kind of use that to segue into the final topic, which is pretty much just the ending, final thoughts, our takeaway from the movie. I think overall, I think if you're a big Monster High fan, I think if you're a young fan, I think chances are you will be into it if this is your introduction to the series. I think younger fans will appreciate this movie. As we talked about in our non-spoiler review, it definitely by far has the highest quality animation, of any previous Monster High movie. I would say the most fluid plot, too. Older fans and adult collectors might find a lot of the reboot elements a little bit more jarring. But I thought it was entertaining. It serves its purpose. It's cute. It's very cute. And like certain, I like the amount of spookiness it had on top of that. I just really hope those missing characters aren't gone.
Yeah. Well, we Max and I gave our personal reviews on it, but we might be sitting here making fun of it and just complaining a lot, but it was a good movie. It has equal laughs and excitement and all that. So I can't really say as a kid film it's a bad film. It's a little upsetting to see the changes, to the characters we have known and loved, So in that sense, it's a little sad. Hopefully, some of the stuff they can correct or expand upon in the next few films, and bring back some characters that we love. And expand on the school, because the school is pretty much just 12 people. Because I'm sure those little pups are not going to school there. They're probably in daycare. And I like her budding relationship with Deuce. You actually see from the beginning how their relationship got started.
That relationship's still there with them.
Yeah, it's very subtle, and it's kind of just.
I like how they didn't immediately jump into each other's arms.
Yeah.
So.
You kind of get a sense that Deuce is,
Crushing.
already falling into the line where he's doing stuff for her. So.
And it was a nice kind of slow progression of that. Yeah, it didn't happen super suddenly.
Well, my thoughts on the film are a little bit more critical. This is the first Monster High film I've ever watched. I never even watched the webisodes. I only did it for these two because they wanted to review this movie. I kind of like to keep it just the dolls. I don't like to watch movies, but that's besides the point. I I could tell that the animation was a lot better than it used to be. I was like, wow, this is really cute and colorful and consistent. I like it. Some of the body movements was awkward, but I understand like they probably don't have a huge budget. So with what they had, they did a good job. The voice acting was good. Plot-wise, I have a lot of issues, and probably don't have enough time to talk about that. The thing is, with a reboot, I feel like they should have put in a little bit more effort to make things more, I don't know. Like, it didn't feel like that great of an introduction. I didn't like how the first half hour of the film was like around Dracula's dad. Like, I don't care about you. Let's go to the high schoolers. Let's get to know these other characters more. So as far as a reboot, I just didn't feel like I got a whole lot of information other than Monica's a problem, so whatever. And I don't excuse, just because it's a kid's film, it's okay to have a bad plot. So, yeah. I was pretty bored through most of it. Monica's scenes were a lot of fun though, so I would say it's worth watching, even as an adult fan who might not like kids movies. Like, it's worth one watch. I hope they improve in the future.
I think hopefully in the future, you know, they will expand the lore more and, you know, maybe bring Monica back for something really daring and spooky.
She'll resurrect Ghoulia.
Oh, it'll be like clans of zombies against each other.
Or maybe they'll have a new origin story for Ghoulia where like she's initially like
A normie or something.
something
Oh my
like
god, I'd be so happy.
Alright, so this has been our spoiler review of Welcome to Monster High. Let us know in the comments what you guys thought of the movie, if you saw it, or if you haven't, we just spoiled the whole thing for you. Yeah, get a discussion going in the comments, you know, what you guys thought about some of the specifics of the movie, the new characters, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And well, obviously we didn't get into too much details on Ghoulia and her mysterious disappearance from everything Monster High related. So if you'd like to see like a video on our thoughts on Ghoulia and our speculations on where she went.
Or maybe we'll do some digging, we'll try to find something out.
So if you want to see more on that or on Spectra, you know, leave something in the comments and we'll try to do some research and get some, you know, theories going. So
We'll speculate.
I like
wildly.
speaking before I have the facts. I'm more passionate.
I like having opinions, not information. Okay, so thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye!